thing that bothers me the most about the gaming industry is this weird acceptance of wanting to go ahead and pay more for the same products that we've already been paying for that were already expensive. Oh, you don't want to pay 60 bucks for a video game? What are you, broke? Oh, you don't want to pay 70 bucks for a video game? What are you, poor? Oh, you don't want to pay 80 bucks for a video game? Why do you get a job, brokey? Every single time these companies raise the cost of games, it literally pushes out other people from enjoying that exact same hobby. And all these CEOs do is rely on the backs of a few whales to keep them afloat while everybody else doesn't get to enjoy anything. And of course, what do we have today? The most pure of pure greed. The one guy who is literally going around and saying exclusives are not going to be sustainable because of the cost of development. Sean, I work at Tencent, now Layden, who used to be the CEO of PlayStation, going around and telling you, hey, guess what? They should raise the price of video games every generation. How, bro? How are we here? How is this the thing? How are we actually sitting here and letting a dude who's running one of the companies that literally is buying the entire industry out, going through making every single game a platform microtransaction filled garbage slop process over and over again, giving you the actual face and straight up shot saying, oh, by the way, every gen, the cost of games should go up. Even though all these companies post record profits, record revenues, and they're having massive bloated budgets that they want us to pay for because they're unable to pay with their money. Hold on. All right, look, I'm getting ahead of myself. I know, because the thing is, this is really important to me. I like the gaming industry. I like video games, and I like the ability for everybody else to enjoy this hobby as well. And the thing is, this hobby doesn't need to be as expensive as it is. But of course, your boy Sean Layden decided to go through and give out the exact blueprint of why these companies are in fact so greedy, and is literally just telling you to your face, you're not enough. According to VGC, game prices should have increased with every new generation, former PlayStation US boss says. Sean Layden says profit margins are getting, quote, super tight. You know what else is super tight? What I got back here after doing 275 by 5 on squat. All right, listen, I didn't take my medication today. Either way, let's see what's actually happening. The fact that profit margins are getting super tight is not my concern. The fact that game developers and game publishers are really strapped for cash, you guys, is not my concern. I don't understand why every single time a CEO of a company decides to walk out and be like, you guys, look, hey, times are tough right now, and due to market conditions, we're gonna have to go ahead and raise the price of those video games. Don't worry about the record profits, microtransactions, and or battle passes we'll be pumping into those games to squeeze every penny out of you every 3 months. Go ahead and give us more money to go ahead and support the developers. That's what you gotta do, right, guys? You don't want the developers to get fired now, would you? You don't want that on your conscience now, do you? Don't you love video games? Don't you like this hobby? Why don't you support the people that are making this hobby? Ah, yes, don't you just love the gaslighting and responsibility blaming, putting that onto the consumer themselves instead of the publisher? But hey, you know what? I'm sure Sean Layden went out and just, really explained what he meant. And he talked about how the publishers are really the ones that are the problem, and their gloating budgets should be the ones that are being pulled into control, not about trying to charge the consumer more money, right? Right? Not on this channel! VGC's article says this: on the topic of game prices increasing to $80, Layden noted that the cost of premium games has stayed the same for the past 20 years, despite the combination of increased development costs and inflation. Layden stated, quote, I think it's because everyone's afraid, he suggested. No one wants to be the first one to raise the price because you're afraid to lose traffic. So what you do is you just end up eating into your own operating income, your profit margin. Layden said that by charging the same price for games while increasing the game's budget at the same time, it's inevitable game companies make less profit as a result. All right, there is a lot to unpack here in just those 3 itty-bitty little paragraphs. Number 1, let's talk about this whole thing about raising the prices of video games to $80 and everybody's afraid of doing it. Nintendo wasn't afraid of doing it. They went out and shot the ball right off the bow. They were the first ones. Oh, you want Mario Kart? Give me that $80. Oh, you want Zelda? $80 $80. Oh, you want another Mario game? $80. They're going to be the ones doing it. And what happened? What was the actual thing that occurred? Every other company was like, Nintendo did it. Let's go. It got so bad that Microsoft raised the price of $80 and everything backfired on them when the Outer Worlds 2 got so few pre-orders and got across the board every single time because they thought that game was worth $80. In fact, that's not what they thought. They thought we can get away with charging for $80 on this. And then it turns out you can't. And they had to take that walk of shame back right down Lambda, Lambda, Lambda Row. Yes, I like Revenge of the Nerds. It's a great movie. Go watch it. But the real thing is this. The profits of these companies, guess what, Shawnee Sean boy? They're not my concern. I don't worry about whether or not the company is making profits. I worry about whether the video game I'm buying is good. That's the only thing people care about. And the thing is, not every game is worth $80, regardless of how much actual production costs or development costs, how those increase, or the kind of rope physics that you do while you're playing the game. I don't give a shit about that. I care about whether or not the game itself is good. And right now, the majority of games aren't good. And even then, games that are crushing it for Game of the Year are being made by a lot smaller studios. Expedition 33, made by 30 baguettes in a shack in France, is literally mollywopping everything on the floor right now in 2025. And all they did was say, hey, look, we're just going to make a good JRPG. It turns out that's what people want. It's just good video games. Nobody cares about profit. Nobody cares about inflation. Nobody cares about anything. They want a good game at a good price. And if you can't offer that, that's not our problem. That is your problem as a publisher. You're the one responsible for that. Your bloated budgets are not the concerns of the consumer. And this whole weird thing that people accept in the gaming industry, like, oh yeah, guys, we got to take this on ourselves. We got to show them that we care by buying these products day one, no discount, full price, physical but not physical, because it's physical with a disc that you plug in to get the internet code to download the game, so you don't really even own the fucking product anymore, and then go that way. Oh, and you know what? Let's talk about this tangent too, because this operating cost, this profit margin, it's kind of crazy to see how 81% of PlayStation games are bought digitally. So you're not shipping anything, you're not manufacturing anything, you're not pressing any discs, you're not charging anything for shelf space, you're not sending anything out across the seas, you're only hosting the servers of ones and zeros, and then you get a full 100% return on that storefront because you own that storefront. And this idea of like, oh, the last 20 years, the price hasn't increased the entire time, so you got to do it every generation. No, but you know what has increased? The amount of people playing video games over and over again. You know what has increased? The reach of gamers and the amount of people buying video games in this day and age. So even if you don't raise the price, the amount of volume that you've increased your people and reach to has exponentially exploded over time, especially the last 20 years. And what's funny is when you look back at like 20 years, you're like, oh yeah, the PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2, the N64, the GameCube. When you look at the market back then to what it is now, it is incredibly different. It is incredibly expansive. And the reach that it's had is unbeknownst to everyone. So trying to sit here and be like, well, you guys got to raise prices by having an ever increasing market and ever increasing amount of people being able to buy your games is ludicrous insanity. But the greed of this dude and this industry continues because This is the best part, folks. Trust me. Sean Layden was saying this, quote, there were more sports cars in the parking lot in the PS1 era than there were in the PS4 era. Because if you're selling 20 million units at $60 for something that only costs you 10 million to make, that's different than selling 20 million units at $60 for something that cost you 160 million to make, he explained. I can't. You guys gotta support the devs. If you don't support the devs, they can't buy their sports cars in the parking lot of PlayStation. Holy shit, dude. Oh my God. Oh, I'm gonna crash out. There are more sports cars in the parking lot, you guys. Ow, bro, what are we talking about here? What is even happening? How is this analogy even relevant for anyone playing video games about why you want to increase the price consistently? And again, your budgetary problems are not the problems of the consumer. That is your problem as a publisher. If you can't get your budgets in line, that's not our issue to deal with by charging us more money. That means you suck with our money. That means you can't budget anything. That means the game developments that you're trying to do are too much for what you're actually trying to perform. And you can't get anything out the door properly without spending money hand over fist. That's not the concern of the consumer. I read these statements today in this article and I fell back out of my chair. There weren't enough sports cars in the PS4 era in the parking lot. This is the shit this dude says of support your developers. This is the guy. Buy your games day one, support your devs so they can buy sports cars. Fuck all the way off into the sun, Shawn Layden. But the better part about all of this is this next statement in the actual article where Shawn Layden literally exposes the actual grift. And when I say grift, I mean literal grift that is happening to you right now. It is a je ne sais quoi. Shawn was quoted saying this. They said, okay, what if we maintained the price and then we nickel and dime you with the DLC microtransactions, battle passes, season passes, whatever you want to call it, and try to make up the excess there, he explained. All right, so he's just admitting it. He's just telling you right now the industry is going to nickel and dime you with battle passes, microtransactions, and season passes. He just flat out said it. Hey, look, by the way, $70 isn't enough. $80 isn't enough. We need to make well over $200 per video game sold. That's how we're going to make money. So what we're going to do is add predatory mechanics into your video game to time gate you and then give you this whole Pavlov's dog effect where we're going to go around and start using dark patterns to try and trick you into spending more money, even though companies like Activision, Blizzard, and Epic Games were already caught doing that in their own games. But hey, no, don't let us go through and hire actual psychiatrists and psychologists to manipulate you into spending more money on loot boxes, battle crates, season passes, and etc. We're just going to go ahead and do whatever we can to squeeze every penny out of you that we possibly can, because all we want to do is make the money out of you. And we're going to say every fib, every lie, every single thing that we can to make it sound slick, like support the developers, or we need more sports cars in our parking lot, because the only way that we can survive is by you handing over your money. We're going to grab you by your ankles like Roger Klotz from Doug Funny and hang you upside down and shake every shekel out of your back pockets, because this industry doesn't know anything else besides and the fact that he had the gall to say this while in 2021, Activision Blizzard King made $5.1 billion in just microtransactions, and just not the game sales, just the MTX. They made $5 billion, and this clown has the audacity to go around and be like, they should raise prices every single game generation because game development costs are too expensive. Oh, the $5.1 billion that we made? Yeah. We wasted all of that, buying sports cars and shit. And the crazier part about all of this is we talked about saving money through different ways. And the one way people are saving money is in fact through Game Pass, a small service fee that you can spend every single month to get a bunch of games and play them that way. Or you can even use Microsoft reward points and not even pay a dime at all. And trust me, there are people who are saying things like, don't do Game Pass, support the devs, buy the games day one. But of course, Shawn Layden had to have a really hot take about Game Pass too. And when you see it, yeah, get ready for this one. According to The Gamer, former PlayStation boss throws shade at Xbox Game Pass. The article says this: now former PlayStation boss Shawn Layden has blasted Xbox Game Pass and similar services in an interview with GameIndustry.biz, suggesting it incentivizes a new normal where people are unwilling to pay for games. According to Layden, the idea of Netflix of gaming is dangerous, as he cited Spotify as part of the reason why people don't buy music anymore. The executive was especially harsh with day one games launching via subscription services, which he considers to be, quote, bad for business. Again, this dude, again, telling you to your face, do you want to save money? That's bad for business. Do you want a better product? That's bad for business. Us actually maintain our budgets? That's also bad for business. The same guy who wants to raise the price of games every single generation because the cost of development is too high is of course the same guy who's angry about people having a low entry price for video games and spending less money and not buying the games day one. Ah, yes, as if that's going to solve solve anything or do anything, you clowns. It's always the same garbage over and over from these corporate suits. Every single time, because all they want to do is wring you dry of everything possible. And the funniest thing about all this is this like analogy of using Spotify as if it's a bad thing. Because you know what was happening before Spotify came around? People were just booting up their old Kazaa, BearShares, LimeWires, and Napsters and going Linkin Park num.mp3 and then checking the file size to make sure it wasn't a virus and an actual file size of the MP3 so you could download it and burn it onto your disk and not give the industry a single dime. Bro, the problem isn't about buying games. The problem is the industry itself is corrupt from the inside. It is incapable of actually maintaining itself properly and then regulating itself to say, hey, we shouldn't spend $200 million on this video game budget. We shouldn't spend $400 million to make this game. It shouldn't take 6+ years to make this video game. We should trim things down. We should make smaller budgets. We should make smaller scopes. We should make B+ tier games again and then price them properly. That way we can build something up and have people enjoy our product. No! Now everybody wants to be a GTA, Call of Duty, Madden, FIFA, NBA 2K garbage while some clown spends $32,000 on NBA 2K. But Game Pass bad, am I right, boys? Game Pass bad. Let's see what else he had to say. I'm sure it was enlightening. The article ends by saying this: echoing recent criticism of the Xbox Game Pass made by developer Rafael Colantonio, Layden also talked about Xbox Game Pass profitability. Is Game Pass profitable? Is Game Pass not profitable? What does that mean? He asked. Layden also went on to say it's possible to do, quote, all things of financial jiggery and pokery to make the service look better for the company. But Game Pass is not healthy for the developers. According to the exec, developers working to launch games in a submodel are essentially paid slave wages. I can't, bro. I can't. Bro, come on. Every single developer working at a major publisher is in fact getting in their wagey cagey. That's the whole reason they're there. And then what you do is you fire them after the game's launched. They don't even have their wagey cagey anymore. Financial jiggery. You mean the same financial jiggery you clowns do every single time? You want to go ahead and raise the price of games because you can't budget your own fucking games? This industry is cooked. Beyond cooked. If you want to talk about this entire thing, the reason why everybody's going third party is because game publishers realize they don't know how to save their money or even spend it properly. So they realize, hey, we can't sell to everybody. We might as well put our games everywhere instead and then dump them up full of microtransactions, battle passes, skins, everything they possibly can to go ahead and make you dump more money into their platform instead of a video game. You guys don't want a transaction anymore. What you guys want is unlimited, unfettered access to our bank accounts to rip every coin and penny out of them because you feel like you're entitled to it. No, Shawn Layden. It doesn't matter if Game Pass is profitable. All that matters is I get a ton of games for less money. It's not hard to see. You're looking at it from the guy who talks about the sports cars in the parking lot. And you know what the difference is? People do not give a fuck about sports cars in a parking lot. They care about whether the game is good or not and if it's at a good price. That's all people care about. And that's the issue right here. You are so completely disconnected from the entire industry itself that all you want to do is watch the number go up every single time, and you feel like that's a metric of success, which again is the funniest thing to watch as you guys dump millions of dollars into these high AAA budget games that come out every 6 years that don't even sell what they're supposed to sell, so you default back on them as the developers of Expedition 33 walk around and start giving everybody back shots because nobody knows how to make a fucking game anymore. That's the problem. You guys are focused on so many wrong things instead of actually being like, we should just make a good product at a cheap price. Everybody would really enjoy it. You'd sell more copies like that than any other way. But the greed in this industry literally knows no bounds. At some point, I guarantee you, expect to see $90 games, expect to see $100 games, because this industry is going to push as far as you will let it. We actually got Microsoft to backtrack on their stupid idea of charging $80 for the Outer Worlds 2 and even every other game. But you can bet your sweet bippy, at some point, the next Call of Duty will be $80. And people even saying really like, I would gladly pay $100 for GTA today. That's wild, bro. Like what? Like what? The problem is the gaming industry has two things wrong with it. One, the people in the industry that actually consume the media don't have a spine. And two, the industry will do everything they can to take advantage of those exact same people. And we have so many fanboys, clowns, idiots, morons, and simps walking around hanging out with Adam22 in the hotel just being like, boy, I'm here to support the developers. Isn't that great? That's why I'm here. Yuck. And they'll be excited to do so every single time. But you know what? I'm here to call all that out because clearly nobody in this industry respects you, and it's high time they learn. But you know what? Before I pass out from lack of exhaustion and screaming at the top of my lungs, hitting about 115 dB while making this video, yeah, it's that bad, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 90,000 subs, and I just want to say thank you guys so very much because we are doing more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, my hot takes in the gaming industry, fanboy content, and live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, right here on this channel. If you want Discord access or emotes during those live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Come on down Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, right here, as I get about 900 people insulting me with AITTS for about 5 hours. And I wear a banana suit. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!